These are turbulent times. The king of Skattarak is old and dying, and his power, although still great, is waning. In the game of Skattarak, you, the players, are his potential successors, and you're all deadly rivals. The king is not yet dead, but you're already jostling for power and attempting to position yourself as the king's natural successor by gaining control of as many provinces within Skattarak as possible. The king, while he lives, still exerts considerable influence. His orders must be obeyed, and without his permission, players cannot raise armies or move against their opponents. But the king will die, and when he dies, the game ends. Who will be the next king or queen of Skattarak? Skattarak is a board game. It has its roots both in wargaming and in property acquisition board games. It also has deck building aspects. Playtesting shows that young men aged between 15 to 30 instinctively pick up the mechanics, but it plays well with other age and sex groups too. I'm 57 and my older friends and work colleagues have also played it a few times, always in the pub of course. In addition to the board, there are 3 packs of cards, and these drive the gameplay. First, there are the province cards, which correspond to the provinces shown on the board. These indicate ownership of provinces and also show at a glance whether the province has a castle, manor house and/or roads, and how much it costs to buy or occupy. Yes, Skattarak has its own currency, the Skattarak. Skattarak Castle is where the king lives and is the place to which players may be summoned or may have to travel to win the game. Its location is therefore an important feature of the game. The castle's location on the board is chosen randomly at the beginning of each game, ensuring different game dynamics each time the game is played. Take the top card from the province pack and place the Skattarak castle piece in the manor or castle. Take the top 3 cards and place them in a row face up next to the pack. In the setup phase, each player takes one of the face-up cards and places one base piece, one army, and their player piece in the manor or castle of the province shown. This is the player's first or home province. In subsequent turns, players will select one province card from the face-up selection and buy, discard or auction it to other players as they choose. Next, we have the common knowledge cards. The player takes one card each turn, and this must be played face up and revealed to all the other players. These must be actioned in the turn in which they are drawn. Some are good and some are bad. Some property acquisition games go on forever. Skattarak won't. The death of the king and the end of the game will be announced by the King is Dead common knowledge card, and players can choose at the beginning of the game how long the game will go on by choosing how many common knowledge cards they use in the game. The King is Dead card is always shuffled randomly into the last few cards in the pack, so the exact end of the game remains uncertain until the last moment. Finally, we have the Secret Affairs cards. These are the cards that allow players to develop their strategies. Some of these cards will grant permission from the king to raise armies, occupy provinces, spy, raid, prosecute other players and take other offensive or defensive actions. Players may hold up to 4 Secret Affairs cards at any one time and must discard any in excess of 4. They hold their cards in secret and discard in secret face down, so other players cannot see what strategies they are pursuing. So how do you win the game? There are 2 ways to win. Either the winner will be the player who owns the greatest number of provinces when the death of the king is announced, or at any point before the death of the king, a player may try to end the game if they acquire a certain number of provinces. The number of provinces required will depend on the number of players. If a player acquires the necessary number, they may attempt to go to Skattarak, and if the other players cannot stop them getting there, that player may then claim the throne and win the game. This is known as the dash to Skattarak. So what makes Skattarak unique or different? 1. Skattarak has a strong and easily understood theme. 2. It is absorbing, exciting and provides varied gameplay and plenty of player interaction. 3. It is not the simplest game to learn, but as with chess or Ticket to Ride, I've found that having played the game once, players are keen to play again to try out different approaches and strategies. 4. It has excellent potential for expansion packs with coherent and complementary themes, such as foreign intervention from Skattarak's neighbours. Finally, it's not just a world, but also a word that no one has ever heard of before. I've trademarked the word Skattarak and captured the web page and Facebook and Instagram accounts. Go on, try googling Skattarak and you will find my game at the top of the list.